In the jungle of Guyana, where sunlight struggles to reach the forest floor, and humidity weighs heavily in the air, life feels fragile and insignificant, far removed from civilization. In the 1970s, this remote wilderness became the setting for one of the most shocking tragedies in modern history, the story of a community that promised utopia but delivered catastrophe. It began with a man named Jim Jones, charismatic and persuasive, whose voice could charm and command in equal measure. He spoke of equality, of social justice, of a world free from oppression. To the weary, the disillusioned, and the hopeful, he offered sanctuary. His congregation, the People's Temple, grew rapidly in the United States, a mix of idealists, followers, and those seeking purpose. But behind the speeches and charitable acts lurked something darker. A man who demanded absolute loyalty, who controlled thought, fear, and obedience with subtle and overt coercion. By the mid-1970s, Jones had relocated his followers to a remote plot of land in the Guyanese jungle. He called it Jonestown, a supposed paradise where people could live free from the scrutiny and injustice of the outside world. At first, the promise was intoxicating. Children played on grassy clearings, men and women built shelters, and everyone worked toward a shared vision of a communal life. But the paradise was a carefully constructed illusion. Resources were scarce, disease was common, and the oppressive heat of the jungle mirrored the suffocating control Jones exerted over his people. Daily life in Jonestown was regimented. Meetings, marches, and work assignments consumed every waking hour. Jones monitored every conversation, every action, every glance. Doubt was not tolerated. Criticism, no matter how mild, was met with humiliation or punishment. Isolation from the outside world reinforced dependency. Families lived together but under constant psychological pressure. Even children were not spared. In the quiet moments, fear was the invisible thread weaving through every interaction. Rumors of abuse began to seep out. Relatives in the United States grew concerned. Investigators, journalists, and family members attempted to verify claims of mistreatment. In November 1978, a delegation led by Congressman Leo Ryan traveled to Jonestown to assess conditions. At first, the visitors were welcomed with smiles and orchestrated displays of loyalty. But as conversations continued, several members quietly indicated their desire to leave, to escape the tightening grip of Jones and his inner circle. On the day of their departure, tragedy struck. At the Port Kaituma airstrip, armed temple members ambushed the group, killing Ryan, 3 journalists, and a defector. Panic rippled through Jonestown. Within hours, Jones gathered the members for a final meeting. He spoke of revolution, of betrayal, of the inevitable cruelty of the outside world. And then, with chilling finality, he presented the choice he framed as salvation: revolutionary suicide. A fruit-flavored drink, laced with cyanide and sedatives, became the instrument of death. Adults were coerced, children forced, and those who hesitated were encouraged, or compelled, to join. In less than a day, over 900 men, women, and children lay dead in the humid, suffocating jungle. The dream of a utopia had ended in horror. Jones himself was found with a gunshot wound, his life extinguished amidst the carnage he orchestrated. When authorities finally reached Jonestown, they were met with a scene of devastation. Bodies lay scattered in makeshift buildings, among disassembled shelters and abandoned tools. The stench of death mingled with the sweet decay of the jungle. Survivors spoke of fear, manipulation, and blind obedience. They described how hope had been twisted into control, idealism into despair. And in their stories lay the lesson: even the strongest promises of paradise can conceal unimaginable darkness. The world reacted with shock and horror. Images of children and families lost became symbols of tragedy and human vulnerability. Scholars and journalists debated how such mass obedience could occur, how one man could wield such power over hundreds of people. Psychological analyses pointed to isolation, indoctrination, fear, and charisma as the mechanisms that enabled such a catastrophe. Jonestown remains a stark reminder of human susceptibility to manipulation and control. The jungle, ever indifferent, reclaimed its space around the ruined settlement, and the story of those lost there endures as a cautionary tale. Idealism without scrutiny, faith without reason, and loyalty without question can become instruments of tragedy. Even today, the whisper of the jungle seems to carry their voices, a solemn echo of lives lost, dreams shattered, and innocence betrayed. And though over 40 years have passed, the lessons of Jonestown remain vital: vigilance, critical thought, and the courage to question authority are the safeguards against such human catastrophe.